Hello everybody, what is up? It is Cass here today, and I have a little bit of a two-part video. Sure, as you can see, I'm feeding my cats right now, and I'm going to break down exactly what they are eating and why they are eating what they are eating now, just because there's been somewhat of an incident recently. But in this video, we're going to be having more of like an animal care type hang out with me while I clean and feed and just do animal related chores. So without further ado, that is what this is going to be. Now on to the cats, because the cats have had quite the adventure recently. Miss Kitty, in case you guys do not know, is just about 14 years old, and I happen to wake up very early to go to work now these days, and I had woken up one morning and noticed that she was not putting any weight on the leg, on her left hind leg. I was very concerned, of course, given her age. So, long story short, she is now on a bunch of old lady stuff, and I will go ahead and leave the regimen, as we're discussing what I go ahead and use to feed them and their vitamins and stuff like that. But right now, I have a bunny POV, which is something that I thought everybody would absolutely love and enjoy. Who does not love seeing a bunny? That's all I'm saying. Bunnies are absolutely amazing. So this is a bunny POV while I deep clean her habitat. First things first is, of course, cleaning the floor, because she is, technically speaking, somewhat of a free roam bun. She has access to the entire house while we are home to supervise. And then while we are not home for the hour gap that somebody isn't home, she is going to be closed up in that space. However, that metal cage that you guys see, I don't recommend those ever being used for rabbits as like a habitat of any capacity. That is her house. She never gets locked in there. That is just kind of like her hideaway space so she can get away from the cats and the dog. So that's all that is. Like I said, she doesn't get locked in there. When I clean her, as you can see, I put her in her little carrier. Then here are the mice. The mice are doing absolutely wonderful. They are 4 weeks old, and they are just so freaking cute. I just can't believe it. I do have a bunch of different projects going on with the mice, so stay tuned for that if you're interested in mice breeding. And then right here, just dividing up some mealworms to feed my geckos. My geckos are in a rack type setup. That is why they are in these bins. These are not pet type setups. If you want ideas or suggestions, or if you want me to look over your enclosures, you can go ahead and submit those to me on TikTok or on Instagram, and I'm more than happy to review those politely but honestly for you. But I'm always happy to make recommendations for good quality enriching enclosures, but these are purely for breeding, what I have right here. With that being said, my leopard geckos and my fat tail gecko, who is also in a rack, they all do come out and interact quite often. We hang out, which kind of just goes to show how tame they are. He's just very sweetly approaching the camera. This is Cookie, and he is an African fat-tailed gecko. For those of you who do not know, they are a very underrated species in the reptile world. Let me tell you, I really, really adore these little guys. They're just absolutely adorable. Who can say no to that little face? And look at those jet black eyes. My goodness. And this is Cheese Curd, finally willing to eat on camera. In case you guys don't know Cheese Curd's story, I believe I have a video on it. If not, then I will be making a video on it, because there's a lot of dragons that just kind of get abandoned out here in New England, unfortunately, as I've experienced firsthand, considering I've taken in numerous dragons at this point. And this is Dolly. This is the first dragon I took in. Definitely have the story of her on my channel, but for those of you who don't know, she was abandoned outside my husband's job in September, when it was starting to get cold, like September, October-ish. I'm not too sure. It's been a while now. But she was abandoned outside as it's starting to get really, really cold and frozen, and she was extremely underweight, wouldn't eat, just was not doing good, but obviously she has made quite the turnaround. So this is the sweet Dolly girl, and this is just her munching on her mealworms from Rainbow Mealworms. And yes, this dragon is on bedding. I know you guys have noticed that. She has a bioactive-ish enclosure. She has some live plants in there and all that good stuff. And honestly, as long as you feed them off of bedding, I haven't had too many problems, but you know, take that with a grain of salt. Everybody has access to different things, and different dragons will eat different things. Dolly is an idiot, and we haven't had any issues so far, knock on wood, of course. But, I mean, you know, take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to information on the internet these days. But this is me cleaning Angus's cage. He needed a super deep clean, so I did his bedding. I scrubbed all of his little posts. I deep cleaned his bowls. And then this right here is Sticky. Sticky is a crested gecko, and Sticky hates being handled. But she really loves being sprayed. She loves the water, which is honestly kind of weird. All of the crested geckos that I've had in the past have always bolted when I've sprayed the enclosure. So this is honestly an adorable change. I can't lie. And then this is her Rapashi. This is Pineapple Express. Then Coco needed a nail trim very, very badly. I noticed that her nails were getting quite crazy. And there's some fish, and Angus eating some seeds. Just some miscellaneous animal stuff. You know, the huge, hanging out with the babies. This was the first time that I had used the Furminator on Oreo. She honestly was a little spooked of the Furminator at first. Of course, it's a very big brush. I use it for my Mal. But she handled it pretty well, and we got a lot of floof off of her. There's a lot of floof that came off of this very small bun. Now, granted, we are going into winter, so a lot of the animals are blowing their coats. Scared little baby, but she's an absolutely wonderful bun, and she's just so, so sweet and so cute. Look at that face. Look at that face. Ugh, I know, brushing is just so horrible, isn't it, girl? Just so terrible. And then this is the aftermath. I could have brushed her for longer and gotten more fur off of her, but it is what it is. Now we're going on to the very next day. And this is Midas, the ball python, eating a mouse. I opted not to show the strike just because there's no reason to be honest with you. It's not right. Considering it was a live rodent, and I don't feel like that should really be shown, but I digress. And this is just me making the salad. Today was kale, spring mix, bell peppers, carrots, green beans, and what else did I add into this? Oh, and cilantro. There you go. It was also cilantro, and this goes to the bearded dragons, this goes to the bird, and this goes to and now this is today, Thursday, the 11th of December, and I'm just giving the salads to everybody, to Cheese Curd, to Angus, to Dolly, and to Oreo. Angus is just a silly boy, and while he loves his salads, he also is absolutely obsessed with me and will always choose to hang out with me over eat his food, which is ridiculous. So I do kind of have to walk away from him in order for him to eat. And as of this point, when I'm editing the video, he has ate most of it and knocked the rest of it into his bedding, as you do when you're a conure. So there's that, but this is a little bit of hand feeding because he's absolutely precious, and he's just such a trusting, sweet little boy, an absolutely incredible bird, to be honest with you. And then this is Oreo, and of course, she loves her salad so much that she fights with me. Doesn't really let me put it on the floor, but there you go. And there's some munchy times. Oh, look at the little baby munch, munch, munch. I love watching her eat on time lapse. I think it's the funniest thing, just watching her little head pop up. It looks like a little Sims pet, I'm not gonna lie. And then here's a little bit of plant care as a little bit of a bonus. Just, why not? I have a bunch of plants. Everybody loves the plants. I have some big Tycons. I have huge humongous alocasias. I have some rares, so here's a little bit of care. The water that I'm pouring into them is a fertilizer mix that I'll leave in the description below. But with that being said, I want to thank you so much for watching the video. I hope that you guys have had a wonderful holiday season so far, and it continues to be great. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day, guys. Bye now.